let's get started creating your first quick page. Open Photoshop Elements and make sure you're in full edit mode. To check that, make sure you have the Edit tab selected and the full button pressed. And while we're over here in the palette panels, let's just close the Effects palette because we won't be using it in this lesson. To do that, click the down arrow right next to the word Effects, and that will close that palette. So now the only palette that's open here is the Layers palette. Now, the first thing you need to do is open the quick page. Go to File in the menu bar and click Open. That's File, Open. Navigate to the place on your drive, on your hard drive, where you saved the templates, and choose T-Tillman_RBOTQP3. That's T-Tillman_RBOTQP3, and that's the third template. You're going to see a small thumbnail here to confirm that this is the template that you want to use. Click Open, and it opens itself in Photoshop Elements. Now, the next thing we want to do is to resize this template down. It is a 12 by 12 template, and most of us don't have large format printers that we can use to print these pages at home. If you have one of those printers, or if you're planning to send your layout out to be printed at a professional printers, then you don't need to resize it. But just to make sure that you know how to do that, I'm going to show you now. In the menu bar, choose Image, and then Resize, Image Size. That's Image, Resize, Image Size. Click that, and the Image Size dialog opens. Right now you can see that it's 12 by 12 inches. Select the width and change it to 8 inches. Now you notice that because the constrained proportions is open here, or I'm sorry, is selected here, it automatically changed the height to 8 inches as well. Select all of the options here, Resample and Scale Styles. Then click this down arrow and select Bicubic Sharper. We're going to use that method of resizing because it's the one that Adobe recommends if you are resizing down or reducing the size of an image. If we were resizing up, we would use Bicubic Smoother. So let's select Bicubic Sharper, then OK. And now our image, or our template, has been reduced to an 8 by 8 image. Now we have this palette bin open here, and you can see that it's showing the template here, but we don't really need it to be open because it's taking up some of our real estate here. So let's just hide the project bin by clicking the two down arrows, and it's gone. To bring it back, click those arrows again, and it pops up again. Now, let's have Photoshop Elements enlarge this image, or our view of this image, not the actual image size, but our view of this image, so that it takes advantage of any screen real estate that's available. To do that, again in the menu bar, select View, then Fit on Screen. That's View, Fit on Screen. And now it's enlarged it on my screen up to 27 inches, or I'm sorry, not 27 inches, 27%. So that's pretty good, and I can now see a little more of the detail. So now you have your image resized to 8 inches, 8 by 8 inches, and you're ready to bring in your photo. To do that, go back up to the menu bar, choose File, Open again, and this time navigate to the place where you have the photo that you want to use. I'm going to use this one. There's my thumbnail preview again. Click Open. And now Photoshop has opened, or Photoshop Elements rather, has opened another window with my photo in it. Now what I need to do is get this photo into this layout, right? Well, there's an easy way to do that. And here's how. You can just drag the photo, click once inside the photo area here, and drag that photo until you are inside the other document window. And you can see here with my cursor that it's showing me now that I am in another document, and it's going to drag this image into that document. And that's exactly what we've done. There is another way to do this, and I want to show it to you. So I'm just going to remove this by dragging it up to the trash bin here in the layers palette. And that will delete this layer. Now it's gone. I'm going to go back to my image, and this time, instead of dragging and dropping it, I'm going to copy and paste it. So the first thing I need to do is select all of the image, so that Photoshop Elements knows just how much of the image I want it to copy. I'll then choose Edit again and copy. It's very similar to other Windows or Mac programs. Now that I have it in my clipboard, I can come over here to my template and just choose Edit and Paste. And there it is. So there are two ways to do this. I use the drag and drop method most often because it's just so quick and easy, but you can use whatever method you're comfortable with. Now that we have our photo in our layout, we don't really need this window anymore. So just click the X up here at the top and close your photo window. Now we have two layers, and let me talk just a little bit about layers in Photoshop Elements. We'll go more deeply into layers in another lesson, in a future lesson, but if you notice, now that I have my photo here, I can't see my template anymore, right? That's because it's on top of or above in the layers stack or in the layers palette, my template layer. All I have to do to get it behind that layer is to drag it here in the layers palette. I'm going to hold down my mouse button, my left mouse button if you're on a PC, and you can see that I can drag that down. And that's exactly what I've done. So now my template layer is on top and my photo layer is on the bottom. So the next thing I need to do is to resize my photo and position it. It's rather large right now, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is turn off my template so that I can see just how big my photo is. And I need to find a corner of my photo. I'm just dragging it around in here so that I can find a corner. And there's the corner. I hope you can see that little box there, and that's called an anchor point. That is an anchor of the photo, and you can drag anywhere you see an anchor. You can drag from there. Now, because I want my photo to retain what's called the aspect ratio, or the proportions of the width to the height, I need to make sure I'm dragging a corner anchor, not a side anchor. And if I just click and hold down that corner anchor, it's starting to resize, and I can move it around here so that I can still see it. And I'm just going to drag it down a little bit more. Now, notice here in the options bar, the dimensions are changing as I drag. It started out at 100%, and now it's down to 68.9%. I'm not losing my aspect ratio because I have constrained proportions selected. So you want to make sure you have that selected, and then you can just drag any corner until you got your photo approximately the size you want. Not exactly the size you want, but close enough. When you're done, come down here to the commit check mark. It says commit current operation. Click it. And that tells Photoshop Elements that you're done with that particular operation. Now, let's turn our template on again and see how we've done. See if that photo is small enough. It's certainly in the range. And now I just need to reposition it. I want to make sure I either have this layer 1 selected, or if I want Photoshop Elements to automatically select it when I click it, I'll just come over here to the options bar and make sure I have Auto Select Layer turned on. If I have that turned on, if I just click inside the image on the option or the element, I'm sorry, that I want to select, it will select it for me automatically. For example, let's say I just click here in the template. Did you notice over here in the layers palette that instead of the photo, I now have the template selected? But if I click the photo here, it selects the photo for me. And over in the layers palette, you can see that it now has the photo selected. Now, what I need to do is to drag my photo. So I'll hold down my left mouse button and just drag my photo into place until I'm happy with its positioning. And that's it. I only have one more thing now to do with my layout. At this point, it might be a good idea to save this. I save frequently when I'm working on layouts, just to make sure that if something happens, if my computer crashes or whatever, I don't lose all the work that I've done. So to do that, I'm going to choose File here in the File menu. And this time I'm going to choose Save As, not Save, but Save As. And this tells Photoshop Elements that I want to save this as a different file from the original file that I was working on. I'm going to change the name to anything you want. I'm going to call this My Quickpage 1. And it defaults to Photoshop format, which is what you want. You want to make sure you're saving it as layers. You can turn this ICC profile on or off. It's up to you. I'm not going to talk about that much in this lesson. We'll cover that a little bit later. So you can leave it checked if you like and click Save. And once you do that, notice that here at the top, the name has changed to My Quickpage 1 PSD. And if I hover my mouse over it, a little tooltip pops up that tells me exactly where it's located. All right, so now we have our layout almost done. There's one more thing we need to do, and that's to add a title.